Welcome to Two Gals and a Glass Half Full. We are Dr. Jess and Dr. Bobbie, two physical therapists just trying to live healthy most of the time and doing our best to see our glasses as half full. Some days that is much harder than others. Sometimes we interview others more knowledgeable than us on different topics to teach us about things we don't know. And sometimes you're stuck with Dr. Jess and I sharing our knowledge and information. So make sure you hit the subscribe button below to stay up to date on all of the Two Gals happenings. And in this month of February, we're talking about exercise, and we're very excited to have actually another PT on with us to give her viewpoint of exercise. But first, Dr. Jess, what do you have in your glass?
So this morning, I'm still working on my smoothie. It's, kind of the usual smoothie that I do. I've got, dark fruits, a little bit of banana, oat milk, chia seed, ground flax seed, some protein powder, some ground peanut butter. I think and microgreens. I think that's about it. So it takes me a little while to drink it. I don't try and drink it too fast.
I can attest that they're very good.
Yeah. So Dr. Bobbie, what's in your glass?
I got some water. Good H2O. Just plain old water.
And today we have somebody with us who we are very fond of, and her name is Lila. So, Lila, before you introduce yourself, what's in your glass?
Pineapple.
There we go. All right. Bringing in a new stop. I like it. I like it. So, Lila.
So, Bobbie, you might like it too.
So Lila, tell us a little bit about you. Like, how do we know you? And then quick little bio.
Great. Well, we all went to physical therapy school together, met in Florida. Currently, I am a home health physical therapist. Been doing that roughly almost 12 years with a little bit of travel therapy mixed in with different settings. My husband in PT school too. And we recently just moved to Hurricane, West Virginia, last summer. He is working at a rehab, but I'm still doing home health part-time, about to start transitioning into birth to 3 though.
Yay. So Lila is going to be navigating the waters of bringing in a third child into her home, which is going to be super fun.
I already have one 7-year-old and then a 2.5-year-old little boy, who both are jealous, I think, of each other. So it'll be an interesting mix.
Yeah. I mean, 3 is a tiebreaker. So, I think maybe that'll help. I don't know.
Yeah. Hensley is definitely team girl right now.
Yeah. There we go.
We should find out soon. I ordered that sneak peek test.
There we go. So, yeah. Yeah, I like it. So in the month of exercise, we're trying to talk to people that have different versions of exercise that they enjoy. And running is something that not everybody enjoys. However, some people do enjoy running. And we know that you also enjoy running. So we thought that might be like a nice person to talk to about your experience, and which differs from mine. And, Dr. Bobbie has run in the past as well. So she's got a different experience. And I think it's important to highlight how it's not just a one size fits all, like I am a runner or not. There's all different ways of being an active person. So Lila, when did you first get interested in running?
I've been running since high school. So I did track cross country, ran, just kind of on my own 5K races through college, through PT school. I did a few afterwards, but then I took like almost a 6-7 year break from I had my first child. Life just kind of happened. And where we were living, it wasn't really convenient to go run. We didn't have family nearby. So finding babysitters and, having to take the time to drive somewhere, whether it's to a park or a track or something, that kind of just dampened it. After I had my second, Samson, I had him in 2020. And after I had him, I decided I was going to get back into running. So I actually, 2020, all these virtual races popped up. And I signed up for one, and it was like a 26-mile. You didn't have to do it all at one time. You just, added up the miles and then you get your little medal. So I did that, completed it, and then I was completely burned out. So it was another 4 months before I actually put my shoes on again and started running. Once I hit that point, kind of haven't stopped. I kind of fell in love with it again, kind of found my groove, and never wanted to do a half marathon. And I've done 3. Up until now, I've already done 3. And I think I did 2 halves last year and a handful of 5Ks. So I think those races really help keep me motivated. It gives me something to look for. I have that goal, that end date. And since we've moved here, I've met runner friends, so I now have a running buddy, which helps with that accountability.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can attest that sometimes when you get into that little bit of a burnout with running, that finding something to like either train for or a running partner or, some sort of goal to shoot for, it's like, it really helps get kind of past that. Like, I'm kind of getting bored with this. And so like, like same thing, like half marathons, 15Ks, 10Ks, 5Ks, full marathons, whatever it might be. It kind of gives you that like, okay, like even if I don't feel like running today, I probably should because I don't want to get behind on my training. And then when you're done, you're like, wow, I'm really glad I did go for a run today. I do feel better. So I can definitely attest that's something that I also have recently been doing, is kind of signing up for a couple of races to keep myself motivated.
And those runs you don't want to do that are actually, well, my best runs, the ones, the run just kind of gives you what you need that day, so I usually do enjoy it once I get out the door. And we now live in a place, and I've never had this besides Florida. I can open my door and just go for a run. I don't have to drive anywhere. It's convenient, and that helps keep me.
And if I remember you talking, like you not only have like a place to run, but you have like trails and like pretty cool things out your back door.
Yes, there is this system of trails. Literally, I can leave from my front door and be at the start of the trails, and it's half a mile. There's miles. It's like 10 miles worth, or maybe even more, of trails back there. And I'm actually doing my first trail run next month. I signed up for the 5K, but they have a 10-mile as well on the trails. And I will tell you, trail running is different than road running. This is my first experience with trails, and I really do love it. But it is different, require different shoes. But it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I'd say when I'm gonna say with the trail running, when I lived in Asheville, it was like, I mean, that was like the best running. It was harder at first because I really had to learn how to just, with the uphill climbs and then the downhill, the agility with the footwork a little bit, kind of it changes the cadence from when you run flat. You just kind of like, set it and go, versus like the trails, it's just, I think there's more nuance, more technicality to it. But I loved trail running when I lived up there.
And I was going to say, sometimes I feel like, and it's just not just with running, any exercise, working out, sometimes the hardest part is like putting on the shoes. But if you can put on the shoes and start walking, or put on the shoes and like get on the bike, or, you just whatever you had planned to do that day, like the hardest part is putting on the shoes, but put on the shoes and just start light. Like if you're not feeling running, start walking. And all of a sudden, at least for me, I found like once I start that, I'm like, okay, let's go. Like I kind of got over that hardest part.
Yeah, I'll definitely say that, doing something to keep yourself engaged is also helpful. So, a lot of people listen to music, which is fine. If I don't have a running partner to run with, I've actually been listening to podcasts, and especially on a longer run, I feel like I'm better engaged when I've got that going, or even like my running partner, like when he does a long run, if I'm not available, he listens to Audible books. And it just like the run just kind of goes by and you're just like off in this world, and it's just like super relaxing once you're, once the cardio is there. And so there's all different ways to stay engaged with if you don't have a partner, and if music is something that's like not quite your jam. Like I just incorporated podcasts in my running probably this year, and I'm like, oh wow, this is great, especially for long runs.
I've been wanting to do that. I haven't done podcast yet, but when I'm on trails, I don't wear earbuds. On the road, I just have one in. I run on I just have one in. And sometimes I don't run with anything. Kind of learning to enjoy, the quietness. So, but podcasts are a good idea.
Yeah, especially if it's a topic that or maybe something you're wanting to learn about, or, like something that you don't necessarily have time. Like I don't have time to listen to a 40-minute podcast in my typical weekday. Like I don't have like a set period of time where I'm not doing something that requires my attention. Between work and kids, I need to be present. And so when I do my long run, that is when I can, listen to that. It's something that interests me, that I actually value wanting to hear the content. And so that, it's kind of good. But I will say I only run with one. I only put one in so I can still hear traffic, anything around me. If someone's coming up behind me, I'm still very aware of my surroundings. I'm never completely tuned out. And there's just a safety factor there that you want to be sure of.
When I was training for it was 2013, so it's been 10 years, but training for the Chicago Marathon, I had to train by myself, which was, man, if you can find a partner, so much easier, because I think the most I ever did was like 13 miles before I went and did that marathon, and that was not smart. But it's hard because like when you're running and at that time that was like before AirPods, that was before really podcasts were a huge big thing. So I listened to music and I talked to myself. But after like 2 hours of talking to yourself and listening to music, like it was the first time I felt like I didn't have anything left to say. Like I didn't have anything left to discuss with myself. I didn't have any thoughts left. So like I'd get bored and then I'd be like, okay, this run's done. So I think like finding something, whether it's learning, and yeah, Lila, I think like there is some, benefit to learning to just be present and like be in the moment and not have, but sometimes on those really long runs, like it's nice to have something once you're like kind of bored to like keep you going.
Yeah. So, now Lila, when you went through those times where you just didn't enjoy running, right? Was there anything else that you switched to?
Yes, I downloaded that Aloe app. It's like there's another one too. It's like a fitness app. I can't think of the other one. The Aloe app, you do have to pay for. The other one was free, but I also run into having a hard time of carving out an hour of time to do exercise. But these classes, you can pick 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, up to an hour. And they have everything: yoga, Pilates, strength, if you want to focus on core, if you want to do meditation. So if I don't feel like doing anything, I usually go on one of those. And I always start with like a small one, like a 10 minute. That gets me going. And then I usually end up doing a few more that totals, 30, 45 minutes of exercises. So I really like those apps. I don't have to think what to do. Someone's there leading me in it. I don't do those. I keep those bands up in the bedroom, and I have some dumbbells. So I'll either just get on the floor and do like a quick like hip workout or something, or a core. I find it, if I tell myself I'm going to do it 10 minutes, I'm more likely to do it. I had to tell myself I need to do an hour of workout, because usually that 10 minutes turns into a lot more, like tricking my brain to get.
It's like just putting the shoes on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I think we've all been there. Yeah.
Especially when life gets busy and you have this I feel like at our point in lives, and I think I can speak for all three of us, but you have a to-do list that is never ending. And if you're not actively doing something on that to-do list, it's growing. It's not getting like shorter. And so I think sometimes it's really hard. And I know, Jess, you've talked about blocking your schedule for this, but sometimes as an adult, it's really hard. Like, I have this, and this I need to get done, or I can work out. And like we so easily, and I'm so guilty of this, and I even struggle with it to today. I drop the workout because all of this needs to get done when that workout is like super important. And whether it's just walking, going for a walk, or doing yoga, meditation, stretching, something for my body and my health, it's like the first thing that goes.
I've also noticed I like to get up early in the morning. And when my kids get in, that's like perfect time. But if I say I'm going to get up early and work out, it never fails. They always get up with me. Or one of them doesn't sleep through the night. And then it makes it impossible for me to get up at 5 to do my workout.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that helps me though, especially when training for these longer runs, I don't think I could do it if I didn't have Eric's support. Because when it is those longer runs, you are going to be going longer, especially if you have to drive somewhere that's, 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. So having him be supportive and watching the kids and like, yes, go do your thing, that also helps. That kind of takes some of the stress off of trying to get in me time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like the time blocking and the scheduling. I have to do the same thing. I'm training some distance right now, and that's like an active conversation of like, okay, on Saturday morning, we'll get this, and this kind of done to make sure that everybody's in a good place so that I can head out, because it's, a couple of hours of, for a long run. So I can head out, and then that way, for short runs, I usually do push a stroller just because of the convenience. If I run after work, my husband can, work on getting dinner ready while I've got the kids contained. And I don't mind pushing them in a stroller, and it gets them outside. They love the fresh air. There's all sorts of viewpoints where we go, and they get to kind of see whatever it is that we're going to go see, and then, come on back. I really try not to push them for a long run unless I absolutely have to, because of, who knows what might be going on that I don't have the childcare. Yeah. But then we also have family that we'll use to help. I might drop one boy off at my sister's house while I'm, out on a run. So, he can play there. So, but it's like, there's a coordination that really is all part of scheduling you time that I actively have to do that in advance to make sure everything's settled so that I can head out.
Yes.
It's a lot.
And winter it gets dark, so those morning runs are kind of my only chance right now. And when we moved, we sold a lot of stuff, so I haven't I don't have a treadmill right now. Treadmills are very convenient to have, but I have one or buy.
Yeah, I'll say I can do the treadmill. We have a treadmill in the clinic, so I can do the treadmill for probably like 3 miles. And like,
I lose wrist fast. I can do about 4, and then it's but on those days or cold days, or you have no option, you still want to get a run in.
I was like, I'm so wimpy, like up here in the cold when it's like 30 degrees out and I'm freezing, and I'm always cold already. So like it's freezing out. And I know like when you run, you get warm, but like it is so cold. You gotta put on jackets, gloves, hats, this, that. It's like, I'll find something indoors. Like, And it is nice. I do have a treadmill here at the clinic, that I can use. Actually, I have elliptical, which because I haven't been running and it's been so long, my body right now, when I go to run, it just hurts. And I hurt before I even like get out of breath and tired. So I'll walk on the treadmill and then I use an elliptical. I have an elliptical here, which I really use for like running or cardio, getting faster, but then not having the impact on my joints right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Lila, how long do you plan to try and run through into your pregnancy?
I'm planning, haven't signed up for it, but there is a 5K I want to do in May. So I think that's be 6 months. Right.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
About right.
Yeah.
I was really toying with the idea of doing a half in the spring. I tried to get into the Chicago Marathon and I didn't get picked. I was, did the lottery draw. I didn't get picked, but I guess it's a good thing. Yes, the marathon's in October, so there's no way I would have been able to do it. I had plans to do a marathon this year, but that will be pushed to next year. But I do plan to run up until I can't. That race in May might be my last race. I run better in cooler temps. My heart rate's able to stay down. Cooler temps works better for me. I do think I will still run. I don't know how much or how far or, intensity wise in the summer, but I hope I'm able to stay a little bit more active with this pregnancy than I was with my last. And then I'm planning to do a 5K in December. So I'm hoping the recovery is quick and easy.
Mm-hmm.
With your last ones, or with someone that's coming out of pregnancy, like, do you have, from your experience of running, and Jess, you might be able to speak your experience to this as well, like, how did you get started again? So we want to kind of talk about like illnesses and pregnancy and like when life happens and it stops you from being able to do what you love and you want to get back into it. A lot of us just try to jump back in and then our body's hurt and then we can't walk for 3 days, which kind of defeats the purpose because you want to try to make it a habit. You want to go back to doing a little bit each day. So how did you work yourself back in, whether it be from illnesses, from pregnancies, to get back to running, or even just your time off?
I after both pregnancies, I had C-sections for both. So I started walking, pushing the stroller. And then from there, I just gradually ran a mile when I felt like I could, I definitely my body, but I did take the gradual approach. Even with just like workouts, one of those apps actually has like a pre-pregnancy, or while you're pregnant workouts. And then, so those were good to utilize too. And even when I took that break from running, it was just, I wanted to jump back in. And it was kind of an eye opener because, when you're in your 20s, I could always go months without running and then go run a mile in 8 minutes and be no big deal. And then it's like you hit your 30 and it just slows down. So it took me longer to get back to where I wanted to be. And I just myself with that, I'm not going to run like I did when I was 20 years old, but I will say though, my 5K this past December, that is my personal best ever. So I feel like I am faster now over longer periods of distance than I was in my 20s. So it is possible, but getting back on track here, I just went slow, I just kind of gradually having that goal helps. I picked a 5K for that summer and then I picked the half marathon. And, I had the goal in my head of what I wanted to run it in. So that kind of too. And then I found training plans that fit where I was currently my fitness level. And then like the time I was working in, and also a plan that would fit. So a few moving.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that PR. And I think some of that comes probably from your consistency, like, in our 20s. Yeah. Like I remember Jess and I, after PT school, we go run some days and some days we wouldn't. And, so like, but as we're older and we know the importance and keep that consistency, we may be able to get to go further even than where we were when we were younger.
Yeah. I think you become a little bit more aware of just what the goal is and like implementing a little bit more specific strategy just because you kind of have to because it's not as simple as it is when you're younger. I do think it's important to like really point out that like if you want to run or if you want to run distance, that it isn't something that you just go out and run a 5K. Like that's not how it works. I mean, you can, it's not going to necessarily be enjoyable. Like anytime I've taken a break from running or, coming back after pregnancies, I literally start with with pregnancies, I started with walking down to the end of the driveway and back, and then walking like 1 or 2 houses down and back until I could walk a half mile, and then I could walk a mile. And then eventually it was like, I'm coming in from my mile walk and I'm like, I could probably, jog a little, not much,
Yeah.
even just like the length of a house, and then would walk. And then I started with, those walk jogs. I called them wogs because it really wasn't a jog, but it wasn't a walk. So it was my wog. And then from there, you just let your body tell you what it's ready for. Push it a little bit, but not to the point of being miserable. And you just give yourself that grace. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that was actually enjoyable. I didn't beat myself up the whole time. I actually just listened to what I was capable of. And if there's a day where you're just like super tired and not having it, then walk. If there's a day where you're like, I feel a little bit better today, try a little bit more than you did the previous day, or previous run or previous walk or walk. The other thing I did after my second pregnancy is because I had a double stroller at that point, I actually got rollerblades. And in my neighborhood, the streets are, it's like real quiet, like it's safe to rollerblade on the streets. And I rollerbladed to like build up my core and hip strength. And that helped a ton with being able to get back to running. And but obviously it has to be safe. I called it rollerblading with a walker because I had the stroller to hold on to. And it was for me, it was great. There was no impact, because I wasn't, striking the ground hard. And it obviously, like in a safe location is where I would do that. So that helped significantly actually with building up my hip strength again. But you can easily build up your hip strength doing specificity of strengthening as well. So
That just sounds fun though.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found for me, I really want to get back in, and I am not running right now. So this is before, like last year. And for me, I found this thing where there was a goal of walk a mile a day, which was nice because it was walk. And I was at a fitness level where I could just go walk a mile and it wouldn't bother me like not running a mile might have, but walking a mile wouldn't. So I just started walking a mile a day, and then, it's taking me 15 minutes. And I was like, maybe I can walk 2 minutes, run 1 minute, and then my time from 15 minutes to complete a mile went down to like 13 and then 12, and then eventually I was running 10-minute mile, and I could get it done in a mile. But that was also helpful for me, was to have like, instead of a time goal, have a distance goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then, every day, if I accomplished it sooner, like I accomplished my goal, and now I could go get other things done that I wanted to get done and then eventually I would start adding on a little bit, like, let's see if I can go 2 miles, something like that.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I think one of the things I wanted to point out is, like, if you are trying to run during your pregnancy, one, it's definitely not the best idea to pick up running while you're pregnant. Like if you are already a runner, then your body's used to that type of you know, it's just how your muscles work, you know, how the ligaments are supporting your body. And if you start getting super achy, it's okay to not like, it's okay to switch to something where you're not getting that. It's like that round ligament ache. I know I could run until probably like a part way through my second trimester in both pregnancies. And then it just got too achy. And at that point, it's like, well, what am I doing? So I think listening to your body while you're pregnant is just as important to listening to your body afterwards, and just, you know, give yourself grace with how you're pushing. You can still be very safe with everything, and you know, but just don't think like, oh, I'm pregnant, now's the time that I need to like train for this big goal. It's okay to just say, I'm pregnant, like my goal is to keep my body healthy and strong, and I will, you know, pivot and modify as everything pivots and modifies in my body. And that's, I mean, whether you're pregnant or not pregnant, I mean, at any point in time, you have an injury, you've got an illness, you're going to have to pivot and modify. And so just always giving yourself that grace of like, I don't know, I've got this horrible cough, like maybe I'll walk and not sprint. That's okay. And I think that's kind of like something that I've had to learn sometimes the hard way of like, you know, my first pregnancy, I tried to run a little bit longer than I was comfortable with. I ended up getting frustrated. And then I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I getting frustrated with myself? Like, I've got a baby growing in here. No wonder like everything's achy. So just like at that point I was in Asheville. So I was like, I'll hike. And, you know, I was totally fine with hiking. It was okay. I just couldn't take the like that bouncing. The ligaments were like, nah, not today.
Especially, I would say that first trimester, like, you know, my best friend, I asked her and she was like, oh no, she didn't feel anything. She wasn't tired. She didn't feel sick. She felt great. She was like, I just felt normal. And I was like, really? You know, that first trimester, so some people's like survival. If you got out of bed, you did great.
I was like,
Yeah.
I brushed my teeth. That's all you get.
Yeah, I couldn't run. I was severely sick with Samson. Like the only thing that felt good was stationary. Like don't rock the boat kind of thing. This one I'm still feeling sick, but I'm functioning more. And I ran last week. It was fine. I told my running partner, you know, I was pregnant and she, you know, she was totally cool going my pace, but I did do more. We did 2 miles on the trail. So I did do more walking than running. That was also the first time I ran in a few weeks because we had that cold blast and it was, you know, -20 with the wind chill. So there was a few weeks I didn't run outside, but yeah, I definitely, I will get slower. This isn't my season to PR by any, so it's just a matter of, you know, just doing what I can safely.
But knowing
So-
you can PR after you've had 2 kids, I think is like, you know what? I think that's awesome. And, you know, just because we've had pregnancies or injuries or whatever it might be, it doesn't mean that you can't build your body back up again. And
Right.
having a goal that's like, maybe I am capable of doing this just with some consistency. So I think
And that's
awesome.
why I did the first half marathon. I was kind of at that point, it was like, I need to push myself. I need to, what can I do? You know, I've done these 5Ks. I've never 10K race, but I ran the 6 miles, but that's why it was one of my driving factors in the first half. And I tell you, they're addicting. You do one, you just kind of keep pushing it. And that's why I was going to do a marathon. And in the trails behind me, it's in September. So, I mean, this year's out of the question about next year, but they have 100. So these ultra runs, West Virginia is like the place to be for races and trail races. I love it here. So many races, not enough time. But yeah, I'm excited to what this journey, you know, what I'm able to do now with the pregnancy, but even afterwards, what I'll get back to.
I think there's a lot of times we think like, oh, pregnancy, and then like, you know, I had kids, like it's hard to like be back at my best, you know. And I think, Lila, you got your PR. I think another great example is in a sport that is incredibly hard to do as an adult is gymnastics. And there is a gymnast. Now, granted, she was an Olympian, but she is now married and has 2 kids. And in her 30s, she got back to basically elite level, Olympic level gymnastics. And just, it was amazing to watch her train and amazing to watch her start, because she literally started just by like conditioning and just strengthening and working out. And I mean, it was a few years journey. It wasn't like she just a few months later after having kids got back into gymnastics and started going, but it was just been really fun to like just watch people after they have kids come back and be like better than they were before and healthier than they were before.
Yeah, I agree. It changes your perspective a little bit too, because you're like, I really do need to invest in myself. I want to be strong for them. And you're doing it for you, but you're also doing it for your family. And so it gives you that other bit of push and drive to be consistent. I think, at least for me, that's helpful. So, all right. So Lila, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. It's been lovely chatting with you about running. I love running. And thank you for sharing your experience as well. I think it's something hopefully other people can resonate with and realize that like, it's okay to like take breaks. Like that doesn't make you a bad runner and not committed runner. Like take a break, do something else. And then when it's like, I'm ready for, a new challenge, maybe try running. Who knows? Something that Dr. Bobbie and I do have, we have a course series that we're releasing about exercise. We've got a running prevention course that is all on the website, accessible to, it's pre-recorded. You can buy and watch it. And then we are going to be having a course coming out for postpartum recovery. And so that I don't quite know when that's going to be released, but that will be coming out just to kind of help individuals understand from a physical therapist perspective, but then physical therapists that have also kind of lived pregnancy and recovered, what's like the real answer to how hard is it to recover? Because it is work. It is actual work to recover from pregnancy if you want to be able to push your body back to where it was, like running half marathons and things like that. There's with that consistency, you can actually get very strong again and decrease your risk of injury. So we've got all sorts of different courses that we have coming out. So that's on the website, www.2-gals.com. It's on the description below. And we also have the membership to the podcast as well. So it's a monthly membership. It's $5.99 a month, nice and accessible for everybody. And with that, we have all sorts of information to be able to implement small change to lives. And whether it's mindfulness, exercise, anything, communication, all sorts of fun things. And then we go live once a month in that as well. So we can really be a little bit more accessible to the members. So it's called 2 Gals Insiders. So we really appreciate everybody listening. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we will.
And Dr. Jess, I have one question.
Yeah.
What we're going back. So we had talked about, we're going back to challenging our viewers every week with one little thing that you can do to kind of implement what we talk about. So Dr. Jess, what is our challenge this week for our listeners?
This week, the challenge is to get outside or on the treadmill if the weather's really bad, but to move for 10 to 15 minutes, walk or run, and just challenge yourself to see, is this something that I would enjoy? If you're already walking or running, then maybe give yourself a little bit of a goal to shoot for this week, maybe a distance goal, time goal, but something to just give yourself that little bit of challenge, and then be like proud of yourself for doing it. So enjoy that and take a picture of yourself, tag us, and then that way we can share your win with other people. So it's like, yay, good job. Like we can all do it together. So,
and where do they tag us?
Oh, sorry, at 2 Gals and a Glass Half Full. So it'll all be in the episode description, but that's the way to do it. Okay. All right, everybody.